One of my favorite parts about starting a new project, particularly a mini album of any type, is choosing the supplies that I'll use for the project. Now, technically I could use anything in my room, and I do leave myself that loophole, but I enjoy choosing supplies ahead of time that I plan to use because that helps me make sure that the album that I'm planning has a kind of cohesiveness that it might not have if I just randomly pulled materials. And it also enables me to house my project in one location. So I repurposed this basket that I was using to store mini albums for this purpose, and I'm just going to keep all of my supplies for this project in it until I'm finished making the album. Now, of course, I reserve the right to go back and look at anything in my stash because, of course, I'm working here at home and I want to have that flexibility and freedom. But I find personally that if I can pick up this basket and put it on my desk and say, okay, I'm working on my memory trip project, then it's more likely that I'm going to use all of the materials that I've pulled, and it's also more likely that when I'm finished I can put everything back in here and set it aside to work on something else or to, wait and get crafty another day. Because I have such a buildup of supplies, I didn't want to say such a hoard, but maybe that's the right word. But since I have so many supplies, I thought it would be best to pull from my stash. So I have not purchased anything specifically for this project, and I think that that's important to recognize. Some of the things that I want to use are brand new, and some of them are quite old. And we'll only see at the end of the project how much of it I'm actually able to use. But I'm excited about using up some of my stash because that makes me feel, accomplished. It makes me feel motivated. I feel justified for all those things that I purchased. And I like the feeling of getting excited about products that might not be new to me. So let me show you what I plan to use. And I'll just begin with, let me show you these things that I think are specific to this particular project. So the memory trip that I am documenting is our 1996 family vacation. I mean, nothing like waiting, 21 years to document that. And on that family vacation, it was the first time that myself, my daughter, and her dad had ever been on vacation together. So I think that that's kind of an important point to make. And we drove to Orlando and we visited Magic Kingdom, Universal Studios. We went to SeaWorld and Busch Gardens in nearby Tampa. And then we also spent a few days at the beach. So this is a vacation that encompasses lots of different activities. And I want to say we were gone about 10 or 12 days. I went through my stash and I recognized that I had several old stickers and that sort of thing that would actually fit the trip. So this one is a pretty old Pebbles sticker sheet about going to the fair. And I liked that you have the close-ups of balloons and tickets because I thought that would work well with any of the parks that we visited. I also liked this side view of a ride because, again, that's something that would be applicable. And then maybe even like the lemonade or the seating here or even the lollipop. I feel like there are a lot of opportunities for pages embellishments here that aren't necessarily related to the fair specifically, but to some sort of amusement park. I also found this old Doodlebug sticker sheet that it's glittered, which I liked, and it has a whale on it. It has some penguins. It has polar bears. And I specifically remember that some of the photos that I have are about those particular animals. But I could also use some of these images to illustrate things that we saw that I don't have photographs for. And I think that this is very whimsical and childlike in its design. And so, of course, I think that would be great to use. I also found specifically 2 sticker sheets that are related to Disney. Now, the one on the left about the princesses is a licensed Disney product. And I honestly don't remember if I have any photographs from this particular trip about the Disney princesses, but it's an option. I know that when we went back a few years later, when she was about 7, that she was obsessed with Disney princesses then, but I wanted to pull it just in case, particularly if I want to show maybe this with a picture of Cinderella's castle or something like that. And then this is not, I don't think, a Disney published item. It was from EK Success. It's a sticker sheet, but it does have things like Mouse House and I'm All Ears and What a Bunch of Characters and Magical Memories, Just Goofing Around. And I do have several pictures that come to mind immediately that would work with any of these stickers. So I want to make sure I have these, and I think these might be really great to use as a title on a spread. So that's sort of what I'm thinking there. I found this other sticker sheet that has to do with amusement parks, and you know, there's at least one photograph of a carousel. I know this is kind of a random roller coaster view. Here you've got the swings, another roller coaster view. I really feel like I'll be able to use a few of these in conjunction with my photos and stories in order to round out what I have. And I like using this particular kind of sticker when my photographs might not be the best, or when I might not have photographs of everything, because these are very photographically based, and I think that that will lend kind of some movement and some interest to some pages that might ordinarily not have a lot of that visual focus. So I also pulled something that I bought very recently. This is the Reset Girl. It's the Carpe Diem word label stickers. And at first I thought, no, this won't have anything to do with a family trip for a little girl. But then I thought, well, yeah, you know, there are things like these are the good times, beautiful girl. Let's see, we could do something like crazy cute, life is good, you're amazing. You know, there are 4 sheets inside of this, and so I really feel like among the 4 sheets I'll be able to use several of these stickers, even though this is a brand new product and some of the other things that I'm talking about have been around, you know, for 10 or 12 years. That is one of my personal faves, being able to combine the very old and the kind of old with the brand new. And I like to do that in everything from fashion to home decor to scrapbooking. I also pulled, oh, we're not ready for that. I also pulled several sticker sheets, puffy stickers, that I thought would be kind of iconic and that I might be able to find a way to use in the album. I mean, a butterfly, certainly, maybe an ice cream cone or a kite. I liked this, you know, just the colors and the shapes of this, and these are all very new. So that would kind of incorporate some of the newer designs into my album. I thought that pink camera was fabulous. I don't know if I have anything where a bike would work, but it's a possibility. I like these words. I think the font and the colors are very whimsical and appropriate to this story that I will be telling. I have just some random little pieces of stickers and stuff that I think could work. I liked this frame and this trim along with the camera. Now, probably none of us are very chic in these photos, but maybe I could even use that as sort of a tongue-in-cheek kind of title, like, oh my gosh, look at my fashion sense in the 90s, what was I thinking? Another frame, I love the, you know, the best day ever and the star, you make me happy. I mean, these are generalized enough that I think that you could use them on almost any layout, and so it'll be nice to be able to use them in conjunction with documenting this trip. The hat, the bow, the enjoy the ride. I mean, wouldn't that be perfect for an amusement park ride? And then here, the girls. I know there are a few photos where it's Kelsey and me focused upon, so that would be nice. Love Us. I don't know that I would probably do anything about my other half because you know how that turned out. But I might use the camera, I might use Together, I might use this thing about remembering moments rather than days, because that's certainly apropos to the story that I'll be telling. I also pulled several label sheets, and I really like Ellie Studio and Pretty Little Studio for that. So I thought this one was cute, between the whale and the family vacation and even the crabs. I mean, I could use all of these. Ellie Studio, of course, we took this vacation in the summertime, and so those colors are awesome, but so are the sentiments on them. And then I have these blank ones that match that I could use maybe for little journaling spots I thought would be fun. I have this Bella Boulevard sticker sheet, and then I have another one here by Studio Calico. Make magic happen, keep calm and smile on. I mean, these are things that would be appropriate to a family vacation. I think they would work well. I also have these Pretty Little Studio cut apart sheets about crazy lives and silly monkeys and that sort of thing. And I recall that there are a few photos where Kelsey is posing with statues of like apes or monkeys or something. So I thought this might be kind of cute in order to use there. But of course, you've also got good times, so much fun, life happens, for the record. These are kind of generalized headings that I think would work in almost any album. You don't have to literally have a monkey in the picture to be able to use these, although, you know, the monkey helps, right? And then this Ellie Studio piece, which is really for Valentine's Day, I thought would be pretty cute because, you know, you've got photo notes, and I treasure this. You have this as our story, currently loving. I mean, I could make a lot of these work for the story that I'll be telling in this memory trip. I also pulled some other more specific stickers that I thought might work with some of the stories to tell. This one is about fairies. And so I don't recall if there are any pictures or stories about fairies, but that's a maybe. We've got some of the classic Disney characters here, and I know that I do have photos to match those. We also have these performance stickers that I think might work because I know we saw a couple of shows at the parks that we visited. And you can see from some of the prices on these things that I've had them for a long time, but also that they were very inexpensive. Another one about princesses that might come in handy. Here's another one that I might be able to use with SeaWorld about seeing sea creatures. We've got Snow White. We have another little fairy tale sort of piece. And then I don't know why I pulled Sesame Street. Maybe we saw a Sesame Street show of some kind, or the Muppets or something. I don't remember exactly, but I pulled it just in case. You know, if nothing else, the little package makes me happy with the count on the front. Then I pulled some enamel dots. You know, it took me a while to get on the enamel dot trend, but I thought, well, this would be fun to use these. So I just pulled a few packages of those that I have in either the circle or the star, and I thought that I might be able to use those. This is a good representation of color, I think. I also pulled some iconic pieces. You know, these are the stars and the arrows, the circle and the rectangle labels, the hearts. These are all pieces that can be used in any kind of a story, and I think just having those out and having those ready will be a really smart move. I also had some more cut apart sheets from Pretty Little Studio. I took part of one of their sales right around the holidays and snagged a bunch of great things for like less than $1 a piece. I mean, it was an amazing sale. And so you have these flags that you can cut apart and make banners. And then you have the differently shaped pennant pieces. And then I have, you know, these labels that could either be small journaling spots or serve as titles or a way to ground maybe a puffy piece or something like that. And I just think that these will be great to have, you know, easily to pull. You'll notice most of these are a little bit of the brighter colors. And then I also pulled one that was in the pastel, because I do plan to mix the brighter colors and the pastels throughout the album, and I want to have lots of choices, you know. So I might have one page at the beach that has some pastels, but then my page at Magic Kingdom will likely be in more primary colors. And I feel okay about that because I think that they're still in the same color families, it's just different intensities of colors. I pulled a few newer things here. Somehow I managed to end up with two of the same Ellie's Studio puffy stickers, and so I went ahead and pulled the one that I'd already opened and started using, as well as the fresh one, just in case. And then I have, I think these came from Studio Calico, about going on an adventure and walking on the wild side. I thought those might be fun to use too. Those are just circle embellishments. I love this Cute Girl line from Crepe Paper, and since my daughter was, you know, pretty cute and a girl, I thought that it might be fun to use some of these stickers in my book. And I'm not sure exactly what I would use or where, but I want to have that option, and I think the colors are just delicious. Notice that this is a sheet that has some brighter intensity colors, and then it has the very pastel versions too. So that I like that. And I also like that there's quite a bit of black, because I want to try to use maybe that black as sort of a unifying element through the whole album. In terms of paper, you know, I'm working in a traveler's notebook, so most of my paper will start out as just white, but I wanted to start with a collection that I could use. And I really like this summertime collection from October Afternoon. You all know all about my love of October Afternoon. I've actually already used some of this collection, but not much of it. And I think that this will be a great starting point for a lot of different possibilities. And you'll notice that these are that still sort of childlike summertime colors and patterns, but there are varying intensities. Some of these are a little bit more pastel, and some are a little bit brighter. And, you know, I do reserve the right to add extra pieces from another collection if I want to, but I think I'll be able to do most everything from this particular set. One of the challenges I've set for myself in this particular project is to try to use some stamping in it. You know, I have all of these stamps and I don't use them like I should, so I've gone ahead and pulled some stamps that I want to use. Most of them are pretty generic and are about documenting and record keeping rather than specifically vacation. So here's a Studio Calico one that talks about observations and details, findings here, and you've got this line that you could use to do some journaling on. I think that would be a good one. The same thing here for this Studio Calico stamp. The captured would be a great place to write some journaling. And then I've got, you know, I could use exploring or eating or you're my fave or captured. I think all of those work. Here's another one, the highlights, and you've got the circle that you could use for some journaling. You've also got a place for a rating or to take note. You've got the place where I could say, Dear Kelsey, and then Love Always Mom. So I could make one whole page like a letter to her, which would be really fun, I think. I really like this Allie Edwards phrase stamp. You know, yes, this, remember this, this is the best, this has my heart, the story of today, love this memory. These are all, you know, phrases that I think would be so great to use in conjunction with some of the photos that I have. And then I really like this Heidi Swapp stamp where, you know, today was totally whatever, or I love whatever about you. You know, here's one that we could use kind of as a listing for journaling. You're never too old to do something, maybe somewhere where I'm acting silly or something like that. Of course, XOXO and the arrow. Again, lots and lots of possibilities that aren't necessarily vacation specific and aren't necessarily specific to where we visited, but I think will work for the documentation purposes of this old vacation. I also pulled this stamp, this Amy Tangerine stamp, because I think it could be really fun to use as well. It says, you know, photo op, documented, travel log, real life, little joys, on the go. I mean, I could see using a lot of these maybe along with some washi tape or next to a photo, or maybe even in some white space of a photo. That could be really fun. You might remember from my December Daily album that Kelly Perky was so sweet. Around Christmas, she sent me a bunch of her her ink pads to try. And I have to be totally honest, I have not tried them yet, but I've pulled them for this project. I think the colors are absolutely fabulous. I can't wait to play with those and to see what happens. And I just hope that whatever I make isn't disappointing. But that's like a personal challenge that I am issuing myself in this particular project, because that's a way that I want to continue to grow. So the last item that I pulled is a collection of washi tape. So I thought I would just show you some of the ones that I pulled. You'll notice that most of them are multicolored because I want this album to be very vibrant and childlike and have lots of color. And then they're really iconic images rather than things that are specific. So these are sort of like ink swatches or ink blots. You have the polka dots in the various colors here. I thought the number washi tape might be helpful. You know, I could even talk about the number of parks we went to and the number of days or how old Kelsey is or whatever. I liked this one because it has the different kinds of pennants. And you'll remember I had those pennant cut apart sheets from Pretty Little Studio that I might use. So that would kind of be a continuity of theme. Of course, I love a black and white chevron. I think it's a classic. You also have a red polka dot and a pink polka dot. And, you know, that's it. That's all that I am going to try to work with here. Of course, you know, I may change my mind. I may need to add a little something, or there may be some supplies that I never use. But I feel really good about this basket of supplies. I feel like it inspires me. I feel like it's a good variation of product. I feel like it's dynamic and interesting. I'm glad that I'm using some of the things from my stash. And I don't know about you, but I'm ready to get started.